everyone. We are back with another amazing book launch, How Shadowchaser Got His Name, A Cat Tale, with the author, Debbie, who is on. So, Debbie, I'm so excited to celebrate with you today. So let us know who all is on and joining with us today.
Well, we have friends and family. We have Karen, who's my sister-in-law, and Barbara, my sister, and Amelia, who is my illustrator, and Amelia's mom, Michelle.
Yay! Well, hi and welcome, everyone. Oh, we have a new one coming on. Debbie, you get to introduce one more person.
We'll wait till Joan comes on. Hi, Joan. We couldn't start.
Hi.
It was a little. Uh-oh. She's got a little feedback.
It's all right. We're going to remove her for just a minute, and then we will let her right back on for sure. But Debbie, oh my goodness, this has been a long time in the making, which is what you told me in the background. You said 34 years. So tell us about your book that is out today. Everyone can go and get it for $1.99 today only. But tell us a little bit about the backstory and why it took 34 years to get this book out.
Oh, boy. Well, it's based on some incidents that happened when my kids were young. I have two boys. And, you know, kids have stuffed animals. And one of the animals was a cat. And it has to do with naming the cat, because we really didn't name it. We just called it the cat. Mm-hmm. And then one night, something exciting happened, and he earned his name Shadowchaser for helping to chase shadows out of my son's room when he was afraid.
Oh, my goodness. One, kudos to you for being a boy mom. Okay, I have two daughters, and they're 13 months apart, and I couldn't imagine if I had boys because they give me a run for my money. So kudos to you, just hands down, for having two boys.
They do.
Yeah, you survived. You have survived.
Boys keep people, their moms and grandparents busy, because now I have two grandsons and two granddaughters, and they keep us busy.
Oh, yes, I can imagine. My mom would probably tell you the same thing. She has only she has 3 grandsons and the rest are granddaughters, and she has 9, and she had 4 daughters, right? Oh my goodness. But I love the backstory about how the cat got its name. You chase out the spirits, the shadows in your son's room. So I love that story. So why did it take you 34 years to write this book?
Well, it was a learning curve. Even though I'd been writing other things, nonfiction, I got books about how to write a picture book, and I did mock-ups. In fact, I still have some. I have a box full of my things that didn't go well. I have, and I started writing it in 1990 using a dot matrix printer, and I still have rejection letters from some publishers.
So, oh my goodness!
So I kind of put it away, and then I bring it out again, and I've been writing other things, different articles, doing marketing, doing newsletters. My focus is are what was vintage clothing and antiques and collectibles. And I was working too when raising the kids. So I pick it up and I put it down, and I pick it up and I put it down. And then I was working for this is a long name, but the Independent Association of Framingham State Alumni at Framingham State University in Massachusetts. And one day, a graphic arts student came in to the office, which is located in a beautiful home, an alumni house, and she was looking for financial aid. And I asked her, what she was studying, and she said she was a graphic artist. And I said, oh, we could use some help here. It was maybe you could be an intern. And that was the beginning. And she worked on a number of things, including a holiday card, which is sent out to hundreds and hundreds of older alumni. And then I got a call from an alum, and she said, I want to meet the person who designed your holiday card. I loved it. And she wanted to talk to her about illustrating her children's book.
Nice.
Which she did. It's called the Little Orange Pumpkin. And so I thought, if she can do it for her, she should do it for me. So that brought me back, 30 years later to pulling out my ideas and presenting the story to Amelia. And she took it from there.
Nice. Amelia, it's your turn and your time to shine. So talk to us about your process and kind of what all went into it.
You'll have to bear with us. We're going through a stop area real quick. But moral of the story, when it comes to just making art, it's my passion. It's what I want to do. And I'm pretty diverse thanks to Deb having me illustrate a book and Louise Ambrose, the one I illustrated prior. And it just kind of opened a door to another creative route that I really needed. And I'd actually focus in hyper-realistic art. So it was very interesting to honestly take a more fun, creative, like more children's-esque style to my art, because I'm like, I draw people's pets for a living. Like it looks like a photograph of your pets. So to do this was actually more challenging for me than you'd expect, because it looks like just a little, cartoon sketch. But I'm like, I critiqued way too much on it. So, but yeah, I mean, I focus in colored pencils, and I ended up doing watercolor and illustration pens, which is not even what I do either. So it was really fun to do, actually.
Yeah, she did a fabulous job.
I love it. So it was a big kind of stretch and a creative shift for you to kind of do the illustrations in this book and everything. So what was your process like when it came to doing, look, there's the illustrations, to doing the illustrations.
I can do it right. I'm going the wrong way.
There you go. For doing the illustrations in the book, how long did it take you to kind of do these illustrations? I feel like every artist is really hard on themselves and over critiques, right? So I can understand that. So what was kind of your timeline and thought process going into this?
I can get that. This is one of my favorites.
So bear with me with service in terms of this stuff, but I honestly went off her script and was like, if I had to draw it, how would I do it? And so I just kind of did it, and then I critiqued from there. Like, she showed me pictures of her kids and like family, and like just she was like, you have creative freedom, try to make it happen. And then we went from there and critiqued it, and we had a whole other game plan to do. We had a whole other game plan for a different book, technically, kind of same concept but different. And so she actually took what images she loved from it, and now we might even be able to do a second book just from the images I've done, because I illustrated basically every line of her book. So now she's got plenty of like content.
I do.
Yes,
she can make more than
you do.
That was part of taking a long time, is learning how to cut out a lot of words, make the pacing better. Yes. So yeah. That was all part of the process.
But I enjoyed it. It was a good time, and it's a learning process for both of us, which is why we're kind of like, all right, we're going to do a second one.
I love it. I love it. Because Debbie, when we were talking a little bit, backstage before we came on, you had mentioned that this is your first kind of dabble into fiction. You've done a lot of nonfiction. This is your first dabble into fiction. So is it fair to say that you have been bitten by the fiction bug, and we're going to get more fiction work from you? Or what is that for you?
Yes. Well, since it's been a long road and a lot of webinars, well, that's how I connected with you, Amy.
Yeah.
Because of Alexa Bigwolf. She's been great. She's a font of information. So I heartily recommend her. But it just takes time, and you have to follow the steps. And one thing I learned is children's books today are different from what we grew up with, and I think the attention span's shorter, so you have to choose your words more carefully. So I know, even though I loved a lot of what I wrote before, cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. And that the cutting process, see, I'm not an author by any means. I live vicariously through all of you guys and being authors and your works of art, right? I don't have the patience to be an author. I know what goes into it. There is, tears, and I always say blood, sweat, and tears because, hopefully there's no blood, but sometimes you just never know, right? You just never know. But so much heart and soul goes into it. And there's a lot that goes behind it, especially when you decide to publish things yourself or go with a small press, right? And so there's a lot that goes into it. But I know that the cutting process, when it is like a labor of love, especially your book, right, being 34 years in the making, can be very difficult. So I am with Amelia on that. Like, let's just do a book 2 and kind of, fill the gaps in there. So you don't have to just get rid of everything. So you
because the learning process. Well, not only that, I designed the book. I taught myself, more PowerPoint and so forth. How to do the blue on the background, transitions. That I had been publishing on Amazon before, so I could build on that. So then I can, the sequel will use a lot of the illustrations that Amelia's done, but probably more. And it's, I think it's going to be called The Trouble with Shadowchaser, because he does get into trouble. And partly because of the younger brother in the book. Younger brothers. You get their pesky.
Yes, no, I can relate to that to an extent. I am the youngest in my family, so I can say we are rather pesky. So especially I have so many animals, and so I can relate 100% to that. But I had no idea. I mean, I know that me and you connected through Alexa, who is amazing. I love her. She is one of my best friends. And I just had no idea that you attended all those webinars and taught yourself all of these things. And that just really goes into it feeds to dedication and a labor of love, really, for you. So are you going to continue in that avenue? Is it something that you like? What was your most favorite part of the publishing journey? I don't really know if there is a favorite part, but what was your favorite part, right? Because it's difficult. So what would you say was your most enjoyable part?
Getting it done.
Yes.
Getting it done, and if you can see this part, I'm not sure you can see it. Hold on, it's hard to get. If you can see the end. Getting to the end.
Yes.
Uploading it to Amazon, but then there was some tweaks. It's not easy, when people say they publish on Amazon, there's still a lot. There's a lot to it. But I like the challenge, which it has been.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Yeah. I feel like everybody has, like myself included, with Amazon, we all have love-hate relationships, and it can be challenging, especially when they change their algorithms or how many categories you can now have, and they take it upon themselves to change some of those categories, right? But yes. I can imagine from an author standpoint, when you hit that upload button and it's gone into review and it's now available, whether you're doing a pre-order or not, just having that like moment, where you're just like, I did it and it's going to be out there and this is fabulous. Now I'm going to do it again. Right. So I love to hear those stories. But you have mentioned before that writing has just always been a part of your life. You've always been writing or doing some kind of writing has been involved in your life. So how did you fall into writing your nonfiction, your fiction? Just How did you get bitten by the writer bug and just start writing?
Well, I think I mentioned just being a student reporter. That was like the beginning. But then I went. I was going to be a librarian. And although I did work in libraries for 20 years, I didn't quite get to be a capital L librarian with a Master of Science. But I also had a passion for consignment shops, antiques, uniques, collectibles. So I started one, and I called it Grandmother's Trunk, which is where my company comes from. So I started writing to promote my store, writing little articles, putting together brochures, newsletters, and things like that. And along the way, I caught the attention of some of the antiques newspaper editors. So then they started inviting me to write for them. So I did features. I went to auctions. I went into antique shows, and then I heard about this new show, the Antiques Roadshow, and they were having a pilot here in Massachusetts, not that far from where I lived, and in Bolton, Mass, Skinner Auctions. And I bought things at Skinner's. So they had a pilot there, and they had Monty Hall as the host. He liked antiques, and they had to do it. But then the show was they thought they'd sell it to a cable company, but as everybody knows, it got bought by WGBH. So then the very first filming was serendipity again for me, because it was in Concord, Massachusetts, which is a short drive away. So I was able to be in on the very beginning of the Antiques Roadshow and see what was going on. And the thing is, back then they needed more. So the people that showed up, they said, "Do you have anything else at home?" And now you can barely get tickets, and you can only bring like 2 things in now. Right. So it's, It's like, nothing to, it's, world buster. So anyway, that was very exciting. I did that I covered that for several years. And I had a contact at GBH that would send me information and photos and everything. And I got to meet a lot of the stars. The Kino brothers are great. I mean, not everybody I talked to on the show, they were really nice people. Some of them, and a lot were local. I still see them. There's one that lives in my town, and we say hi. So that's how I got started. And everywhere I worked, I worked on something. And then I helped write a memoir for a local state legislature who was a rock star. She was early on for women's rights. Started the first women's battered women's shelter in Massachusetts. Got women credit. And you just had a guest recently, Amy. It was talking about women couldn't get credit. They couldn't have credit cards unless they get a mortgage or anything. She pushed through all kinds of legislation for the underprivileged, not just that. So she was very ahead of the curve in so many ways. And she lived in my town. And so I approached her and I said, "Can I help you write your memoir?" Because she seemed to not be able to sit still to do it after she retired. She was in the legislature for 24 years and favorite to get roasted by the local talk show hosts. You've made it when the talk show hosts want to roast you.
Yes. You've made it for sure. I love that, though. You have had a lot of experiences, and a lot of it that I feel has just kind of been encompassed with your writing. That's always kind of been a part of of your life. And so I'm excited to get to know you and to hear about these experiences and everything, and just to be able to support you with this book that is out. And I know you have others on here that are your support system and have been along with you on the journey to publish Shadowchaser. So let's get them talking a little bit about their experience and journey and supporting you, Debbie, with this book. So who wants to go first? Or we're just going to start playing popcorn. Not everybody talk at once.
I don't think Cassie knows I did this. Welcome, Cassie. She's my niece.
Oh,
hi. Sorry, I'm a little late. I was putting the baby to bed. So I remember I heard some whisperings of it, and I knew that something was coming down the pipeline, but my mom shared the email that you sent to her. So I hope you don't mind, and I'm glad you did, because I'm happy to be here. And I just want you to know that I'm very proud of you, and I can't wait to get my hands on a copy so I can share it with my daughter. And you should be really proud of yourself, and just congratulations. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Cassie.
Oh my goodness, my cup runneth over. You guys, you have just already melted my heart, and I'm not a crier. Okay, I just love it. I love it when families and friends get together and support. So, Barbara, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad I'm on the podcast, especially with Deb and Amelia. So congratulations. And I remember when Deb mentioned it and she said Shadowchaser, and I was thinking back, it's like, oh, I remember something about a Shadowchaser, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. But now I know it's about the cat. So I'm wondering, Deb, do you still have, or does one of your sons have the cat? Or
Good question. No, no longer. I don't want to mention the names because I haven't cleared it. However, the older one, when he was home, I don't remember if it was from college or the Marines, but he suggested, he was cleaning out the back of his closet, and we had multiple stuffed animals in the back. And I said, well, maybe your kids will want them. And no. And he said, why don't you take a picture of them? And, because you'll still have the memory by seeing the picture instead of physically storing them. So we did that. He sat down on our couch and we arranged all the animals around him, and I took some pictures. So we still have that memory. I thought it was a great idea, minimalist, So, so
I love that. I should take you up on that, because my daughters are 4 and 3. They'll be 5 and 4 this year. They're 13 months apart, and we have stuffed animals galore, just galore. And so I should probably take you up on that. But I also just like their stuffed animals. There's memories with each stuffed animal. And I just want to hold them like, oh, you remember when you're like a week old and I got you and the bear was bigger than you and now you're bigger than the bear. I'm a sucker. My husband would say it's hoarding. I don't believe that. It's just embracing memories is how I like to.
Well, look at museums. They're not hoarding.
Oh my goodness, Debbie, yes. I'm going to use that in my next argument. When he says something like, we're a museum of our family memories.
There you go.
Okay?
Exactly. You have
that.
You have artifacts, but I didn't get rid of all of I still have 2 stuffed animals left. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
The very earliest ones.
I love that. That makes me want to go.
That's pretty cool.
And Michelle, how are you?
Well, I'm very proud of Amelia, but I'm also a very good friend of Deb's, and I'm very proud of both of you guys. I love the book. I read it today, and I am so waiting for a sequel. Amazing. And
Hi, Sandy. Whoops.
She'll come back. She just wanted to, pop the weasel. She'll come back. Sandy will be back. She's just playing with us at the moment. She will come back. See, Michelle's ready for book 2, Debbie. Okay, so I feel like
Now
we're all
under pressure.
all going to wait for it. We're all
Well,
waiting.
We do have the basics because actually the second half of the original book is a good basis for the sequel, and Amelia already did a lot of the illustration, so I think it'll come together, and I'll certainly come together faster because I can apply a lot of what I learned doing Shadowchaser. I won't be making, I think there were 30 drafts or more going, back and forth. And again, I can't say enough about some of the workshops and webinars that they're very vital for other people that want to try. I learned so much. I revamped the cover and the color very late because I was able to get a critique from some of the book cover experts that was that Alexa had, and it made all the difference. Their ideas, I feel, made the illustrations pop.
Yeah, definitely getting a fresh pair of eyes on it is one of those things that kind of makes things different, right? Because sometimes you're too close to your own projects and you have to have that. But welcome, Ann and Sandy. How are you guys?
Glad I get in.
Oh, good.
I'm glad you're here. Ann, it's so good to see you. Ann was one of my buddies in the Hood. We used to call it the Hood. And sadly, she moved away. So I don't see her very often.
Oh, well, now you guys get to see each other.
Yeah.
So,
I can't connect.
it works out.
No, too far away from the
I
Wi-Fi.
love that we can all bring people together. I love it. It's always a fun time. So, Debbie, we've had mention of book number 2. You said all the pieces are there. I'm not pushing you for, a date, but a timeline. Timeline would be lovely because I am impatient. I'm an impatient person. So
No, I'm going to have to do it.
yes, you're going to have to do it. But was it always part of your game plan to make this into a series, or is it one that's just slowly evolving into one?
Well, actually, this goes back to the workshops too. That was recommended, try to do a series. And I had thought, I probably could do a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll take it from there. I have jotted down extra ideas about what happens when you have a very lifelike cat around, stuffed cat. And people like cats.
They do. I mean, I have a cat. My husband has a cat is more I'm going to say. I'm more of a dog person, but my husband has a cat. And so we have a cat.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand and I can relate to that 100%. But, one of the things that I hear a lot from authors, and I've kind of heard from you, right, is you go one book at a time and one book becomes 2 books. And then 2 books has become 4 books. And the next thing you know, you have like 30 books out there. And so I'm wishing that for you. I'm wishing that you're just going to have 30 books out there, and it's going to be this wonderful series of Shadowchaser, and it's going to go on all these different adventures and cause a lot of trouble. And I'm excited for it. So I cannot wait for those to come out. But I want to dive back in just a little bit because you've mentioned you've done a lot of these webinars and you kind of taught yourself the best ways to kind of put your book together that works for you. And you've learned a lot of those ins and outs and everything like that. So obviously your next go round will be, I'm going to knock on wood when I say this, smoother. Okay. Because every book has its own challenges when it comes out. Right. And so with that being said, do you see yourself, if you were to do 2, 3, 4 books, would it be something that you would eventually do, not collector's editions, but like a box set of children's books kind of down the road? I can picture this for you, which is why I'm asking.
Oh, thank you. Sure, why not? I obviously didn't start out thinking that way, but sure, why not? Shadowchaser deserves more, right?
Yes, I love it. Just the vibe that I get from everybody that's on here to support you, and the bond that you and Amelia had putting this book together with the illustrations and everything, and how that kind of went into it. I can definitely see it being something that evolves into more than what it currently is, and just having a fun time. The story really resonates, and it has a fun time. It has fun illustrations, which is what you want for children's books, because even me being 32 years old, I thoroughly enjoy picture books and seeing the artistry and the colors. And it just, for me, gives puppies and rainbows vibes, just happy-go-lucky. When you're having a bad day, go pick up a children's book, because they will make you feel a lot better. And that's coming from me, who has 13-month apart children. So that's what I would recommend. But I can picture you having this whole series and it just turning into this whole empire. Shadowchaser is going to be an empire for you. I can picture all of these things and all of the different adventures. Yeah, I'm just telling you, we're going to do it. You put all that time into learning to put this book together. We're going to do it, girl. That's what we're going to do.
Put that idea out there. The energy.
Hey, you've taken all the time to learn to put the book together, and the quality and everything that you want the book to have, right? Which is a high quality. It is a very high quality traditional book. And so you took the time to learn all that. So let's just build on top of it. And children's books to me are the funnest to write and the hardest to publish, because illustrations and having a good relationship with your illustrator and going with the story are very important when it comes to them. And you have nailed that with this book, and the relationship that you guys have comes across in your book, right? And so it's a beautiful thing to see. And so I'm excited to see more of that from you. So
Thank you. So
it's a good thing.
So a big thing to me is what we've created and will create is not using AI.
Right.
There's a lot of children's books being cranked out now with AI. So I think that our books will be set apart because they are created by humans.
Yeah. I love that. Yes, we are in a time when AI is at the forefront of everybody's mind, and it's an easy access tool, right? And when it comes to self-publishing, it has made things a little bit easier for others. But true talent speaks for itself in quality of the book and of the writing, right? That's when true talent comes, where AI, in my opinion, and I've done this for almost 13 years, Debbie, AI does not compete with a writer that has a passion for writing and telling the stories. It will always an AI will always come second to that, because their passion comes across in their writing, just like yours in this 34-year making book that we're just going to turn into this empire for you. I'm putting it out there, Debbie, that we're going to turn into this empire for you is going to beat anything that an AI would create, right? And
were you a drill master in a previous life?
I'm gonna own that. Yes. Yes. My kids would say I'm more like I don't know, a pixie or Tinkerbell. I'm just happy like this all the time. But I'm going to tell my husband that I was a drill master. Okay. You need to be nice to me. I love that. No, I think it's one of those things. You put in all this hard work and time into this book, and it shows, especially with it being your first fiction. And I'm going to put out there your first fiction children's book. It's very difficult to do. And you have nailed it because you took the time to learn the whole process of it, right? Because publishing a book is not for the faint of heart, Debbie. It is very difficult. You really take a leap of faith. Like that whole saying, leap of faith, you really do that when you're an author and you're putting these things out there on your own, because it's difficult. And so I have a lot of respect for authors, and especially children's authors, because it is very difficult to do that and to put out quality children's books. Very difficult, Debbie. And look, you have nailed it. We're going to just build it.
I hope so. But you're right, doing the parameters, because you're limited. Well, the recommendation is 32 pages. That's it. Not meant no under 700 words. And there's so many things, and having a good flow. Yeah.
Yeah, and getting your story across in 700 words, right?
Mhm.
Because let's be honest, okay? Every one of you guys are readers on here. Let's be honest, writers can be a little wordy. So to do it in 700 words takes talent. And like you said, you had to cut stuff out, right? You had to cut some stuff out. And so it is very difficult, but to do it in the age range that you're working with, that your book kind of takes place in that age range, is very difficult because you have to keep their attention, which is where Amelia's illustrations come in, and then the story correlating with it to keep their attention, right? And so it's a very difficult. Picture books, in my opinion, are the easiest ones because it's the picture and a word, right? So you're like, oh, as long as it's colorful, it works. But yours, which is telling a story, and they have to kind of follow along and understand that, and that age range that you're playing with is very difficult to do. And I always say this, and you can watch, Debbie, some of our previous ones that we've done or on our podcast. I find children's books to be the hardest genre to write and publish because of those parameters like you've experienced in this avenue, right? It's very difficult to do. And look, you have done it. Look at you. You've done it, and it's been flawless. You learned all of these amazing things to go with it to put out this quality book. And so you should be very proud. Everybody on here is very proud of you and here to support you and the love, and just to celebrate you and Shadowchaser, this empire in the making. I'm just going to keep saying that. It's what it is, okay? It's the empire in the making.
As long as the empire doesn't strike back.
Exactly. We don't want it to strike back. Let's not do that. We're not doing a Star Wars. We're just going to build it, okay? There's no dark side coming by any means. But I am curious to know, I know I keep talking about your empire and all of this, but what else is to come from you, Debbie? I mean, I know we're talking about a book too that we all, I feel like, confidently have convinced her to do, a plethora of those. But, what else are you working on? What else is in the pipeline for you? Or what else do you want to try and kind of stretch your writing, right? This is your first fiction book. So where else do you kind of see Debbie going?
Okay, well, first of all, the way I got used to, well, not used to, learned about Amazon was creating a journal, which another intern, I did a couple of journals. This is for craft beer because my husband and I are craft beer fans, but trying to remember, we go to a brewery, which ones did we like? So I did this journal, and then there's also, won't you find the same thing with wine sometime? Which wine? We go to the store and it gets confusing. Which wine was it? So I've done those journals, and because of my love of vintage, I collect, and I used to do vintage clothing shows too. I collect vintage ephemera, especially photos. So I've put together a couple of books like this. They're for junk journals, scrapbooking, that kind of thing. I wanted to share my finds. And I did a coloring book. It's construction coloring. I had with the boys, they love things that move. But my other serious project is it's called So You Want to Buy a Cabin in the Woods.
Oh.
My husband and I have bought a cabin in Maine, in down East Maine, and boy, just open up our horizons in so many ways. And there's a good, bad, and the ugly. And, people have the dream and the vision of getting away, but sometimes they think getting away, they're still going to have a lot of the amenities, like a toilet. No. Like being able to go to a restaurant. No. So that my book about buying a cabin is addressing those based on our experiences. And it's 3/4 way done, I think.
Oh my goodness. You broke my heart when you said not having a bathroom. Like you just broke my heart. I can deal with not, I live in a really, what I consider a small town. I've grown up in really big cities, and I live in a small town when the college kids aren't here. So I can get used to not going to dinner and doing all this. But if I don't have a bathroom, I'm not a nice person. Like I need my space to hide from my kids mostly, but I need my space. So,
Yes.
oh my, no, I cannot imagine that. Oh my. But I feel like that would be a book that a lot of people that kind of do similar things, like what you guys did and buy a cabin or a house somewhere else, or want to adventure and go off and do that, would definitely need. I would not think of any of those things. I'd be like, oh no, this is just a cute little, cabin or cottage, whatever. This is gorgeous. Let's just do it. And I wouldn't think of any of those things. So I like how you really have written in a little bit of everything. I love your craft beer one. My husband loves craft beer.
There you
And
go.
wine is my thing. So you had me at wine. Okay. I knew that we were friends when you mentioned wine. Okay. But the coloring book and the vintage, and then you write about real things kind of going on, I feel like, in your life at that time that a lot of people can relate to, because they have either a similar interest or love or desire to do some of these things that you've done. And so I love that. You're like a real writer writing about real things, right? Ours are hard for me, so I have to slow down when it comes to ours, because ours are very hard for me to enunciate. But I love that. And Debbie, you have to be the first one that I have ever had or talked to or done any kind of celebration like this that does that. I don't hear too many authors that write about real time things that are going on that a lot of people can relate to. And I think that feeds to your, passion, but your quality of writing, because I feel like you're writing about all these things, and those can be really difficult to write in a relatable fashion. And so I think it just sings to your strongness as a writer.
Oh,
So
thank you. We'll try writing a fundraising letter. That's a real challenge.
oh my, but I bet you probably do that wonderfully. Like I can only imagine just sitting here talking to you in these 42 minutes. I can just imagine that would be the nicest fundraising letter I would get, where I would just be like, oh, I need to donate to this. Like I get that vibe. So I'm like, oh no, Debbie, you could send me anything, even in your text messages. Even in your text messages, I'm like, this is the sweetest person I have ever met. I'm just saying. So, I mean, you could just tell me anything at this point, Debbie. I mean, you could just say, hey, what do you do? And I'd be like, I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm in. Like, you just had me. You had me at that.
You have witnesses. Watch it.
Yeah.
I know, but I believe that they will all agree with me to some extent. So I am not worried about it by any means, but I love that that's, what you're working on, and it's almost close to being finished, which I love to hear. And we've already all told you you're working on book 2. So I'm not even going to ask you about that, because that's in the works. I already know that. We're going to just cross that bridge when we get there. But in terms of fiction, do you think that you will stay in this genre of fiction, or do you think that you will ever branch out at some point and write something in a different fiction genre?
Not sure. I know sometimes, I read a lot of mysteries, but I'm not sure I can do that. But to circle back, Amelia, I had an idea for a different book. And I sent Amelia the bones of it, and we're going to be talking about that one, because I'm sure Amelia's already got some visuals.
Oh my goodness! You can't just drop things like that and not give us something. You can't just cliffhanger. That's a cliffhanger.
All right. Well, the working title is "My Best Friend is Different."
Okay. Okay. See, I told you, Debbie, you just had to give me the title and I'm already there. Like, I'm already here for it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So is that going to be, because I want to hang on to that because I like that. And you already have the bones of it. So is that in the same genre as Shadowchaser, or is it in an older genre? What genre are we playing in?
It's going to be a yin and yang kind of picture.
Okay.
And, you know, it's how the friends are different, but they're friends. No.
I love that. You have to let me know when that book is out, Debbie, because my kids need that. Yes, my kids need that. I'm sure that you remember when you take your kids out and they're like, what's going on? And it becomes this whole thing. And, you as a parent, you're embarrassed and you're like, oh no, everybody's just different. We just love everybody. Everybody's different. And they don't understand. And you're mortified as a parent. So I need Debbie, you have my number. Let me know when that book comes out so I can get it. Oh, Debbie. No, I'm excited for you though. Like just getting to sit and talk to you and seeing all the love and support that you have. That's why I love doing these. I love to interact with friends and family that support the authors and that show their love for them. But it takes a lot to publish a book, Debbie, as you know. And so having the support system is very vital for every author, whether it's family, friends, a collection of both. Having that support system is very important because it drives you to continue going. And when you doubt yourself, you have the support system. So look at all of the people here that love you and are here to party with you and your success of your book and it becoming an Amazon bestseller. Yes.
Before we go, speaking of support system, I have just the best husband in the world. Sorry, everybody else. But he's been very supportive. So back when the kids were little, I was able to do the freelance writing to cover the auctions and so forth on the weekends because he would, he'd just take care of them so I could go off and do that. So back and forth. But he's always been understanding about my writing endeavors, trying to work out not that I wasn't working anyway, but it's different. And, it's like, what are you doing in the other room? Oh, yeah, I know what you're doing in the other room because I have a separate office. But he's great. And he figures in Shadowchaser. He's like the hero, kind of.
I love it. Everybody needs to have a supportive spouse. I feel like when you take on this challenging path of becoming an author and you decide to publish it yourself or you go down small presses, right? Everyone needs to have a supportive spouse because you're going to put them on a roller coaster when it comes to that. And I can attest to that. So you will put them on a roller coaster. And so I'm so happy to hear that. And I love that. So how long have you and your husband been together?
We've been married 38 odd years and we were together 5 years before that.
Oh, see, I love that you don't hear those numbers very often anymore. And so, kudos to you. And I love that. And I love him because he supported you. So he's now also my BFF because I love that. And that makes me super happy. But Debbie, this is all about celebrating you and Shadowchaser coming out today, hitting Amazon bestseller, which is an amazing accomplishment. And so if people want to go and check out some of your other works that you've done, where can they go to find that? Is it on Amazon? Do you have a website? Where should we send people?
Well, on Amazon, if you just type in Grandmother's Trunk, most of my books will come up, including Shadowchaser. And my website is grandmotherstrunk.com. And if you want to know, I wrote about my writing journey for the picture book on my blog, which is 50pluses.com. And the blog is about people who are 50 plus, and I'm 50 plus. There's a couple extra S's in there.
I love it. I love it. Well, Debbie, thank you for letting me be a part of this special day for you. I'm incredibly honored to be a part of it and to be a part of your support system because you have an amazing support system.
Oh, well, thank you, but I have to go back to Amelia because I'm not sure the book would be out except for Amelia. You know, it's just she came along at the right time, and she just has these wonderful illustrations. She's very talented.
You can definitely
Absolutely.
see it in her illustrations on your book that she's very, very talented. And hey, the relationship between an author and their illustrator when you're doing children's book is important. And your relationship is beautiful. So
Yeah.
I will expect nothing less than what you already have for Shadowchaser because the relationship is there and that's an important relationship. Besides, an editor, which is a love-hate relationship, your illustrator, you really want to love your illustrator and have the great kind of dialogue and relationship and chemistry that you and Amelia have, and it comes across and they're beautiful. And so all of your books that Amelia does are going to be beautiful because you have this amazing relationship and she's very talented. So you have an amazing system in place. You have me and Alexa in your corner. And so I'm honored to be a part of your support system and to celebrate this amazing day with you. So thanks for letting me be a part of it and to celebrate with all of you guys because this is so much fun. But everybody, make sure that you go and check it out on Amazon, How Shadowchaser Got His Name, a Cattail. Today, the ebook, go and take advantage of it. These are stories or is a story that is perfect for kids. But also, if you just need a pick-me-up because you're having a bad day, I'm telling you, picture books do wonders, okay, for mental health, spreading happiness, all kinds of stuff. But make sure you also go and check out some of Debbie's other works because as we have been talking this whole time, she has written and done and published a lot of different options that are very relatable for everybody going just in life, are very relatable. So Debbie, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your special day, and for everyone on here joining you. Thanks for putting up with my personality and having fun and celebrating with Debbie because this has been so much fun. So bye for now,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Amy.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Congratulations.